Today we're going to talk about subdividing your object. There's two ways to do this. The first one is subdivision surface, and the other one is multi-resolution. I just almost always do multi-resolution because it gives you more freedom. Now we're going to apply it to the monkey, and you notice that the monkey gets a lot smoother. Now we're going to do the same thing to the cone. This time though, you'll notice that it changes form. Now that has to do with topology. That's something we haven't really talked about yet. Now to see what's going on, if we look at this in edit mode, we notice that this face has 3 sides. Always model in 4 sides. Every face should have 4 sides. So what happens is when it doesn't have 4 sides, it doesn't subdivide properly. And that's what causes it to change shape. Alright, we're going to do the same thing with the cube. Now, a lot of people are kind of surprised, but the cube actually changes into a sphere. So when you're modeling something round, I think most people, including myself, we always use a cube. Just because its topology is so great at the beginning. If I wanted to keep the shape of the cube, I'd have to add these edge loops in, and we'll talk about those later. But you notice I'm adding an edge loop at both ends of this cube. Now this isn't going to make it keep the cube, but I just want to show you guys what's going to happen. So if I go back into object mode, you'll notice that this is the new shape. Where those edge loops are, it keeps that edge. So I'm going to add the last 2 edge loops that will keep that cube's form. I'm going to put one up top and one at the bottom. And there we go. You notice that the edges are a bit round, but that's just what subdividing does, is it makes things a bit smooth. If I wanted to make that really sharp, those edge loops would have needed to go right next to the edge. Now this is what subdividing does. It basically takes that one face and divides it into 4, and each time it subdivides, it will take each face and divide it in 4 until it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And this is why the monkey became so smooth. It starts off as these just giant faces that end up smaller and smaller, and eventually, if you cut it enough time, things just end up being really smooth curves. Alright, we're gonna move on. The next one is a sphere. And this is not the best object, and I'll explain some more about topology right now. So to make good topology, we know we need 4 sides. So looking here, almost everything here has 4 sides. We notice this face compared to that face, they both have 4. Although you want your faces to be the same size as a general rule of thumb. One problem we have with the sphere is at the very top it has a triangle. And what happens when you subdivide, you're going to notice not too bad deformation, but you're going to notice there's going to be a slight little bump where those triangles all meet at the top. Alright, the last object we're going to cover is the cylinder. Now, if you remember going back to when we made the mug, we actually did not model the mug as well as we should have, and I just did that because most people were just starting and I didn't think it was necessary. When we subdivide, this thing ends up as a mess. So the way that we're going to fix this is just like the cube, we're going to add an edge loop right at the top and also in the bottom. This will keep that form. Now this isn't going to solve all the problems because you see you get these kind of wrinkled bumps around the corner. Now this once again has to do with topology. I'm going to delete these just because they're slowing my computer down right now. So we notice that we have the 4 sides on all the faces except the top. If we go to the top, we notice this top face has actually 32 edges on it. We only want 4, and that's what's causing those wrinkles around the edge. So the way that I would do this, and I was going to show you in the film but decided not to, is you're going to count 8 vertices. In other words, you'll count 1/4 of the vertices, skip 8, and then count another 8. And so you'll have 16 selected. Hit Control F and do grid fill. Now, instead of being one giant face, it's a lot of faces that are all 4 sides. So now everything has 4 sides. And you can see here how smooth that top is, how much better that top face looks than just the one face at the bottom. Now another mistake that a lot of people do, and we'll do it on this bottom side, is instead of doing a grid fill, they know it's bad to have one giant face. So instead they'll try to make a bunch of small faces, kind of like what the sphere had, where it had those triangles. So we're going to merge all these vertices to the center and kind of make these triangle faces. And you see it's not bad, but it's still got those wrinkles on the edge compared to this one that had that grid fill. So I hope you guys understand that topology is extremely important. When you subdivide, it makes your life easier. Now here's another example where you see that one face that I deleted the vertice. Instead of being 4, it became one big face with 8 vertices. In other words, it has 8 edges. When I try to make an edge loop, you notice that it stops. It also stops where that triangle is. And so when you try to do edge loops or subdivide, render, just anything modeling wise, it's going to cause nightmares if you don't keep good topology.
Ninja.